Today we are celebrating not only the completion of a new building, but also we are celebrating the people who have been part of Montcrest School over the past 35 years. Everyone in this room has something in common, and that is Montcrest. We welcome back today former teachers, students, parents, principals, board members, and friends of Montcrest who have special memories of the school they either attended or helped support over the years. Over the last few months, there have been stories shared and pieces of history woven together, and I'm appreciative that you have come today to see one another and our beautiful new building. We also today have the honor of welcoming back to Montcrest Mrs. Katherine Livingston, principal at Montcrest School during the 70s and early 80s. The question often asked about the reunion from former students, parents, and teachers from that decade was, is Mrs. Livingston going to be there? Will she be at the reunion? They remember her kindness, the candies she used to give them, and the wonderful atmosphere under her leadership. We were pleased that on Friday, Mrs. Livingston made the trek to the park with us to be the official starter of the mini marathon race, and enjoyed watching the children and talking to them as well. She was accompanied that day by Jess Poland, a teacher who began the mini marathon, and also Charles DuPont, a former grade 1 teacher from Massachusetts who is also here today, and a former student, Allie Hamilton, who was actually Mr. DuPont's student at that time. The children are so pleased to welcome Mrs. Livingston to Montcrest School, and on behalf of the Montcrest community, we would like to give you, Mrs. Livingston, a small token of our appreciation and ask you to come up for a moment. Thank you.
What I have to say is not going to take very long. Don't worry about the paper. Oh, okay. We didn't have this kind of thing when I was here. Is that too loud? Too soft? Just right? Spectacles. Needless to say, it's a wonderful and warm feeling to be here today for the celebration of past and present, of reunion and accomplishment. And as I have reflected on this day, it occurred to me that it is not only one for celebration, but also for one of thanksgiving. A thanksgiving for the school that all of you students are fortunate to be a part of. And a thanksgiving that the January school escaped being closed forever some 25 years ago. And a thanksgiving for those who made the decision not to close the school. A thanksgiving for the inspiration for the special program for dyslexic children. And a thanksgiving for those who made the continuation of the January school and its transition to Montcrest School possible. As one grows old and looks back on one's life and all the people who have enriched it, one begins to ask, did I thank them for this or that? Yes, I must have, but did I thank them enough? And so many, many people come to mind, especially those who were part of my life during my 11 years at Montcrest and who have become a part of your heritage. I cannot thank them all by name today, but I would like to particularly thank those to whom I referred earlier, not only for myself, but for everyone who has had the privilege of being a part of Montcrest. Our thanks to Professor and Mrs. Gregier for starting the January school in the first place. And to those board members who on the eve of the closing of the school, because of insufficient enrollment, 4 days before it was to have opened, and against the protests of other board members, voted to keep it open and to give it a chance. Mr. Ralph Horner, who was here, one of those who helped to save the school, the late Dr. Davidson Black, and a third member, and age has crept up on me. His first name is Hugh, and I can't remember his last name, and I couldn't find it. And our thanks to that little dyslexic girl, my first student, who by one school was relegated to coloring books in the corner and reported as not very bright, and in another commanded to read aloud in front of the whole third grade class, teacher beside her with a stopwatch in hand, she bursting into tears being sent back to her seat with the voice of the teacher yelling out to her, "You're the stupidest child I've ever had to teach." And great thanks to Mrs. Charles Gundy and to the late Charles Lake Gundy for guaranteeing the operation of the school for that critical year of 1971-72. We started with 10 children, followed by many years of concern and generosity, and finally the gift of the school building on Montcrest Boulevard, a gift that in many ways guaranteed the permanence of the school. And to those of you in the 7th and 8th grade, special thanks on this matter. On your behalf, 2 little boys here today, I hope, Joey Raymond and James Shire, at that time seniors in the 6th grade, who came to the office standing solemnly on the other side of the desk and asked, "And what about us next year?" Well, you're graduating and going on to the 7th grade in another school. You're seniors. We don't mean that. What about the 7th grade at Montcrest? But we don't have a 7th grade. But you've added a grade every year, so why not one for us? Well, we'll see. And the boys departed. What a great idea, but where to house them? So thank you now and again to the late Mr. and Mrs. Jerry Moore for giving the school the house on Broadview, enabling Montcrest to add grade 7 and grade 8, enriching the school in so many ways. Last but not least, a thanks to all those committed teachers, the very soul of a school, for their devotion and dedication to the children over the years. And now the present. I want to express my deep appreciation and gratitude to Elaine Danson, who has, with her love and skill and endless hours of hard work, guided the school into this new and exciting era of careful growth and development. May she be here for many years to come. And she'll be present, I am sure, to celebrate with you the completion of the next 35 years. I don't think that I'll be present, but I'll be around somewhere. And may those next 35 years be filled with challenges and triumphs, and always that unique and precious spirit which is Montcrest.